I think I'm gonna dye my hair pink. That's pretty punk, right?
Dude, that'd be sick.
Yeah.
You know, the Ramones honestly changed my life.
Me too. But what record are we gonna listen to next? We've listened to all 3 of our punk records. Minor Threat or The Clash?
Minor Threat. They're just so raw.
I agree. I feel like screaming right now.
Yeah, man. Minor Threat? More like Major Threat. Let's mosh.
Yeah! Ah! I feel like yelling at my parents right now. They're just so oppressive. Ah! Nobody understands me! Ah! Joe Strummer, lead singer of The Clash from 1976 to 1986.
Joe Ramone, lead singer of the Ramones from 1974 to 1996?
Ian MacKaye, lead singer of Minor Threat? I don't know anything about your history, but it's cool that you're here or whatever.
No, idiots. Of course not. I'm the ghost of punk's past, and I'm here to show you what punk really is.
Standing up, fighting oppression, taking down the man!
Being different!
Whoa, okay. So what oppression are you standing up against?
My parents!
My school!
Please, I think you all need a history lesson. Now tell me, where do you think punk began?
1980s London, England, the birthplace of all things anti-establishment, of course.
That's when the Ramones began the movement that would change music and society forever!
Yeah! Alright, well, let me take you back to a place where punk really began. South America in 1964.
Where are we?
We're in Lima, Peru, the true birthplace of punk rock.
I thought that punk wasn't created until like the 80s.
Most people do.
Whoa, what happened to your mask and all your pink clothes?
Oh, those things? Those were used for transportation. I changed our clothes so we could blend in a little bit to the times.
Wow, we look super cool. Wait, where's Naomi?
Oh, your screaming friend? Yeah, she got lost in the time flip. We'll probably run into her later. Los Psychos, a punk band formed in 1964, about a decade ahead of punk bands like your beloved Minor Threat and The Clash.
That's pretty cool. Is that them playing now?
Yes, actually, this is one of their most popular songs, Demolition. The band didn't originally write it as a protest song. It was a joke about train spotting. But left-wing groups used it as a protest song, and there were reports of Mexican drug cartels driving into town blasting their song at full volume.
Wow, so just by pushing the boundaries of music, they essentially created a rebel movement?
Yeah, you could say that. But let's flash forward a bit.
Flashing forward? Oh gosh!
We've traveled 6,320 miles. Welcome to South Africa during apartheid.
Oh, apartheid. We're learning about that in school right now.
What does apartheid mean?
Have you been paying attention at all? Seriously? From 1948 to 1994, South Africa was completely racially divided.
Oh, like the US?
Well, yes and no. It had its similarities, but it was different in South Africa because the segregation was government enforced and lasted much longer. Black citizens were forced to carry passbooks to prove that they were citizens. If they didn't have them, they would face serious jail time. They were forced out of their homes and into poor communities, and they couldn't have relationships with each other, they couldn't get the same jobs. It was a completely different kind of segregation.
Oh, okay. Well, that sucks and all, and it's good information to know. But what does that have to do with punk? It sounds like the people of South Africa had more important stuff to deal with. I mean, surely they had no time for trivial stuff like punk rock.
Hey, watch what you call trivial. You wanna fight?
I think that was actually a very valid question. During this time, the people of South Africa were protesting and fighting for their rights. Out of anger and oppression emerged some of the world's most beautiful art. It was during this time that the band National Wake was formed.
International news.
National Wake?
I've never heard of that.
And I've heard of a lot of punk bands.
They didn't get national attention like The Clash or the Ramones, but they were South Africa's first and only multiracial punk band. In a time when it was not just breaking social rules, but breaking laws, they had a vision. They wanted their music and voices to be heard. The government started taking notice. Police began coming into their houses and telling them to leave the country. They were putting their lives in danger for punk, not because it was edgy, not because it was cool, but because their voices were being heard in the way they decided they wanted to be heard. They may have only released 500 copies of their only album, Walk in Africa, but National Wake's influence spread underground and shook the foundations of Africa. You guys keeping up?
Oh yeah. So this band, were there others like it? Bands that broke down barriers and tore down walls in society?
Of course there were. I'm actually going to take you to another wall now. This one, however, is quite literal.
Whoa! Where are we now?
Berlin, Germany in the 1980s. This is where punk gets even more controversial than it already is.
By controversial, do you mean that Germans were being yelled at by their parents for screaming punk lyrics in their room too loud? Because that's just my experience. They get really mad sometimes.
Not so much. Actually, that's probably the last thing that was on the minds of punk bands at this time. There was a massive wave of punk bands who were either political punk leftists or punk Nazi sympathizers.
Nazis? I thought this was the 80s. What were Nazis doing in the 80s?
Wow, I think you need more of a thorough history lesson than what I can give you in the next few minutes. Back to the point, these huge differences in beliefs resulted in clashes and protests.
Clashes? Like the Clash?
And protests, one of which ended up resulting in the eventual fall of the Berlin Wall. While their fundamental beliefs were different, all of these punk groups had one goal in mind, and that was to take part in questioning their government in East Germany and to take back a place that was theirs. When the Berlin Wall was finally torn down on November 9, 1989, the battle was won. These rebels, punks, and citizens of Germany had finally overcome the oppression of the Sozialistische Einheitspartei Deutschlands, or the SED.
Whoa, so you can use your voice to make actual change in society?
Of course, and these aren't the only countries where punk music radically changed the lives and attitudes of everyday citizens. We can take a look at China and Russia, for example. Both countries have been under communist governments and have produced some of the more radical punk groups we know today. Let's fast forward a few years into the future. Here we are in Moscow, Russia, present day. The band Pussy Riot is a great example of how punk continues to thrive. Pussy Riot is a Russian feminist protest punk rock group based in Moscow, formed in 2011 and continues to thrive to this day despite many of the members being arrested. They scream in the face of their oppressive government. Women have taken the forefront in this new generation of punk rock, and current events such as the 2016 presidency and foreign policies have contributed to a new wave of bands with radical ideas and music. The point of all of this is to take a stand. Whether that be through systematic racism or sexism rooted in the traditions of culture, taking a stand is something that's a universal truth in the music of punk rock. From as early as the 1960s in South America to the 70s Bowery Ballroom in NYC to present day, taking a stand is present in all forms of punk rock music. So sure, you can use it to stand up to your parents or to school or to the man, as long as you remember its history and its original ideals.
Whoa! I'm back from time and space!
Stop! Why are you doing that? Why do you keep screaming?
Knowledge is just so exciting!
Alright, well, you missed everything that we just learned.
No, I didn't. I could see it all.
You could? Okay, well, I think we gotta go now. See y'all later.
Aw, man!
Whoa!
We're back!
I feel like a whole new person.
I am a whole new person.
These new clothes.
And I've learned so much about punk. Wait, what are you still doing here?
I got you guys a gift. Here are 50 records from bands from places you've probably never heard of. I want you to listen to all of them. Peace out and rock on, kiddos.
Whoa! She just disappeared.
And she gave us all these cool new records.
It's amazing.
Whoa! And we just look so cool.
I feel like I'm seeing a whole new world.
Yeah, man. Hey, is that a Los Psychos record?
Yeah,
Oh my
dude.
God.
Play it.
Yeah, yeah.
Play it. Play it. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Wait, guys! What are we doing? We just learned that we have voices that we can use to stand up for people who don't have them. What are we doing moshing here when we could be out in the streets protesting?
Yes.
You're right. Let's go. I appreciate